Session 50. My apologies. Ex-Brigadier Mustansir Billah. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum. Auzu billahi minash shaitani rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We begin with the name of Allah, who is permanently compassionate, incomprehensibly merciful. And we begin with the blessings on Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the last and final prophet. We continue with Surah Fatiha, the Qur'an summarized, and in that the third verse, that is Maliki Yawmiddin, that is the absolute master of the day of requital, the day of justice, that is absolutely just reward and punishment based on every individual's performance as demanded by Qur'an and Sunnah. One should not miss opportunities to perform the apparent little good that one can in one's daily routine. The verse 7 states, فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَهُ. One should not miss opportunities to perform the apparent little good that one can in one's daily routine. Any one such pious deed could become a lifesaver, making the difference between hell and heaven. And the smallest mite of a sin need also be avoided, for these will total up to become devastating. So he who commits the slightest sin will face the penalty, no matter the sin be as harmless apparently as peeping, that is looking at other women and men and expressing criticism or scorn in a person's absence. وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَهُ وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَهُ. And whoever commits even an iota of sin would see it recorded there. And whoever commits even an iota of sin would see it recorded there, if not forgiven by Allah. And Allah has vouchsafed not to forgive shirk, that is, having co-equals, shareholders of Allah, pantheism, etc. Abdullah bin Masud Razulullah Ta'ala narrates that the Prophet, peace be upon him, stated, "Be careful, watch out, save yourselves of the smaller sins, because these will be accumulated on a man to an extent that he will be doomed." Because these will be accumulated on a man to an extent that he will be doomed. Musnad Ahmad. At another occasion, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, the last and the final prophet, stated, "Save yourselves of the sins which are considered minor sins, because these have to be accounted for with Allah." Save yourselves of the sins which are considered minor sins, because these have to be accounted for with Allah. Musnad Ahmad, Nisai, Ibn Majah. Now, 102 Surah At-Takasur. Al-Hakum At-Takasuru, O mankind, insatiable, extremely greedy race for accumulation of wealth, luxuries, kept you insouciant, unconcerned, light-hearted about the hereafter. Wealth made you ignoramus, ignorant, led you astray, taking a heavy toll of all that was good in you. Self-aggrandizement, increasing personal power, wealth, and authority allured you, and you became the aim of your life. Ab initio, right from the start, you got on the wrong track and forgot the very existence of Allah. Allah had created man to worship Him. Your wealth became baleful, threatening avocation, diversion from your main purpose. Your wealth became a threatening avocation, diversion from your main purpose. You thought you were a very successful man, having all resources, power, ruling the world, and made every effort that all that you have should last forever and ever. You considered those who believed a threat to peace and progress. You made ideologies and systems in which Allah and prophets had no existence at all. And you fell on the believers with a heavy hand. With self-projected threats, you created moral justifications to persecute and enfeeble the believers in all possible ways to the hilt. Hatta zurto mul maqabir. Allah had given you latitude. Allah had given you latitude, and you persisted with your lusts until the appointed time when you visit the graves. Death until the appointed time when you visit the graves, till the time death buries you in the graves. Death stopped you from your hedonism and impassive, ruthless ways. Now you will have to pay for this mania and the chain of atrocities against the weak and meek that you set in motion. Wealth, property depart the moment the spirit leaves the body. The mobile phone doesn't work in the grave. It has to be left outside. Close ones, relatives, friends, and the good and evil deeds go along with the body up to the graveyard. The people hurry back the minute he is buried. They have many things to do, many appointments. However, his deeds shall remain with him as part of his body and stick to him as punishment or reward, in hell or heaven forever. He shall see it then whether the resources and whatever capabilities, the varoom, power, and drive given to him by Allah were transformed, converted into good, or ruined in visceral bodily pleasures. Kalla sawfa ta'lamun, not at all. Don't be implacably rigid, cussed, carefree about the future. You just can't have it out with the Creator. You just can't have it out with the Creator. Your wealth will not jolly up, brighten up your grave, or make it comfortable. You will realize, see the reality when twisted, jolted soon. Your misdeeds will fructify the moment you are buried. Man's punishment and reward begin right from the grave, when the footsteps of the people who came with the funeral can still be heard. The soul re-enters the body at once, and two horrifyingly black draconian angels with blue eyes inquire, that is a preliminary interview, as to who is your Rabb. Then a glimpse of Prophet Muhammad, the last and final prophet, is shown through a window, and inquired, what do you know about him? And then two more questions as to how did you spend your youth, in piety or voluptuary, and what did you do with the knowledge Allah had endowed you? The faithful believer answers all correctly. The grave is extended to make it comfortable, 70 meters or far more. It is lighted up. The That he is given, my apologies, he is given a bed from the heaven and clothes from the heaven, a window provided from the heaven for a continuous pleasant breeze, and he is told to sleep like a bride. He is told to sleep like a bride. He will be awakened from here on the doomsday. A disbeliever, a victim of pantheism, shirk, doesn't know his only Rabb, nor the Prophet, peace be upon him. He gives 20 off-key answers and fails. He is given a hell-like bed, hell-like dress, and a chimney from the hell opened into his grave, and a constant hot air, furnace-like exhaust, blows on him. He is hammered, beaten up with king-size hammers of steel. He had loved all king-size things. The grave squeezes him to an extent that his ribs are meshed. He suffers the punishments till the doomsday. He suffers the punishments till the doomsday. The sinful would be pathetic, pitiable, up the spout too, while people may be lamenting posthumously for what a great front man he was. He'll suffer the punishment in the grave during the period of waiting, that is Alame Barsakh, for the sins other than those for which the punishment of fire is ordained. In Alame Barsakh, he'll face the punishment for the sins other than those for which the punishment of fire is ordained. So the moment the sprightly, lively, full of energy character, the indispensable, breathes the last he or she sees the denouement, the last part of a novel, play, in which everything is settled, made clear. He knows immediately whether he is summoned for heaven or for hell. He knows immediately whether he is summoned for heaven or for hell. In the words of Shakespeare, it is a knell that summons thee to heaven or to hell. In the words of Shakespeare, it is a knell that summons thee to heaven or to hell. The period of waiting, Alame Barzakh, is for the remaining mankind to catch up to. That the final judgment for every individual of the mankind is given on a single day. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, has narrated the eschatological details, that is, the events, happenings, treatment with man after man's first death, in such supererogatory, thorough, fine, and splendid details that only those with midsummer madness, that is, very great madness, could doubt or disregard their inevitability. There will be no fencing. There will be no fencing, avoiding giving direct answers, and nothing to fend off the blows, punishments, and the time to retrieve would be over. And the time to retrieve would be over. That's all for today. Jazakallah. Please pray for me, brothers and sisters. Ex-Brigadier Mustansir Billah.